Hello everyone. Today I've decided to do a tier list for all Dragon Ball Z forms, and I'm talking about the forms that occur between Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super. So nothing that doesn't exist in those media. So all of those, good old fashioned Super Saiyan 6, 7, 8, and 1 million will not be showing up here. Obviously, this list is purely subjective and it's totally based on my own opinions, what I think looks cool or is more memorable for me personally. So, yeah, let's get right into it and we can start. So, yeah, first things first, we are starting with the Ozaru transformation. So, this transformation was introduced in original Dragon Ball, and I believe it was when Goku fought Jackie Chun for the first time in the World Martial Arts Tournament. And it was alluded to that this was the form that had killed Goku's grandpa Gohan. I personally really like the form. I think it's a cool throwback, at least to the original Saiyan roots, and it's very primal looking. And obviously, the form turns you into a huge ape, which is always menacing and very, very terrifying to fight, I'm sure. But for me personally, I wish this form could be brought back a little bit in newer media, possibly Super, just because I like delving more into the Saiyan ancestry, backstory, things like that. And for me, I think the form is actually a B. I like the form. I wish it would come back. And, it just looks cool and menacing, and that's kind of the reasoning behind it. The next form is Pseudo Super Saiyan. I believe this showed up in the Lord Slug movie, and it's basically like pre Super Saiyan. I think I could be wrong here, but I think it was an animation issue, or they weren't allowed to really show regular Super Saiyan yet, so this form was shown. It obviously looks like a mix of Kaioken and regular Super Saiyan. Goku has the Super Saiyan aura, the spiky hair, but his irises are, fully white, and his hair has a reddish tinge, kind of Kaioken, sort of, but it's cool. Not really for me. Maybe that's why it's a pseudo Super Saiyan. I think I'm gonna place it in the C tier just because it's, meh. Not anything crazy, not anything bad, but just not for me. So next we have is Super Saiyan Power. I also think this was an animation error. This form, I believe, was shown when Goku was in Otherworld fighting with Pikkon. Could be wrong there, could be right actually, but it's basically just Super Saiyan Goku with regular hair. Well, regular hair color and no Super Saiyan aura. Basically, this was like, you know, Ultra Instinct sign before Ultra Instinct sign. For me, it's going to go in a D tier just because I don't think this was actually a form. I think this was just a mistake that went into the animation, and that's really it. And there's obviously much, much better forms, in my opinion, than this one, or I shouldn't even say form, better non mistakes than this one. The next form is the goated classic Super Saiyan 1. I feel like most people, when you saw this form, it was the craziest, most unbelievable thing in the world. Goku got the form after Frieza had killed Krillin. You know, it looked like the culmination of all the ancient Saiyan power, the myths, the legends Vegeta had been talking about throughout the entire Namek arc come to fruition. And, just seeing Goku, who's normally so mild mannered, you know, angry and furious with rage, eyes green, hair blonde, and with this, golden aura, I think for most people it was, what is this? And it really set the stage for all of the other forms to come after. And for me personally, and I think it's no surprise here, this is going to go directly into S tier. Super Saiyan 1, S. I think for the next form, it is Super Saiyan Grade 2. So this form was obtained initially first by Vegeta and Trunks during the Cell arc. And this is basically a more beefed up Super Saiyan level. Not Super Saiyan 2, not Super Saiyan 1, a little bit in the middle. It exponentially raises their power and their brute strength at the cost of speed, but not as much as the form that we'll be looking at after this. I, at the time, thought this was really cool actually, just because they were so beefed up, and I thought, especially with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, that like, more muscle, more power. But the form was, quickly removed due to the immense drawbacks, and eventually later in the Cell arc, we find out this is a very wasteful way of using your power and not actually a good form. But if I'm rating it totally based on appearance wise, I do like it. So I guess I could say I'd put this in the C tier. It's cool, and I do like it more than Pseudo Super Saiyan actually, but I don't think I can really put it much higher than that. Next, we have Super Saiyan Grade 3. This is basically the form that Trunks used when Vegeta was knocked out after he let Cell absorb Android 18 and become Perfect Cell. Um, at the time, it looked like Trunks had discovered some amazingly powerful new form that Vegeta didn't know about and that was exclusive to him and was like this hidden potential that could defeat Cell, but we end up finding out later that Vegeta most likely knew about this form and chose not to transform into it because it was so unbelievably slow. It gave you huge muscles and pure brute strength, but at the cost of your speed, making it very ineffective, unfortunately. And as we see later in the arc, Goku and Gohan in the hyperbolic time chamber, Goku discovers this form as well, but quickly realizes that it is not very efficient in battle and discontinues it, and it's never used again by Goku. I know Trunks briefly uses it in Super when sparring with Vegeta, kind of as a way to trick him into getting close and then reverting back to Super Saiyan 1 or Super Saiyan 2, one of those two forms. Um, I do like how it looked in the original Dragon Ball Z. In Super, maybe it's just I just don't like how Trunks looks in Super, so that could be it. But for me, it's pretty much a C tier form. It's nothing bad, but it's not really that great. I think I'd put it behind Super Saiyan Grade 2, but in front of Pseudo Super Saiyan. Next, we have Super Saiyan 2. When this form was first revealed by Gohan, it was, super, super amazing. Super, get it? Super, super amazing. But, this form was very cool just because it seemed like the next level. And I think at the time I thought that this would only be like available to Gohan because, he was half human, half Saiyan. But we obviously find out later in the series that, you know, pure-blooded Saiyans can turn into Super Saiyan 2 as well, and it's not just a distinct form for half Saiyans. But I really do like how they leaned into the anger route for this, and that it was, Gohan, really snapping and letting go is what allowed him to access this form. And I do feel like it's a little bit underutilized later in the series because obviously they have so many more forms that appear, but I do feel like it doesn't get as much love as it should, even though it, obviously had its, biggest showing in the end of the Cell arc. But for me, I think Super Saiyan 2 is really cool, and I'm going to put that in the A tier. Not quite S, but, I think it's memorable nonetheless. Super Saiyan 3. So when I first saw this form, and when Goku revealed it to Majin Buu and Babidi to stall for time when Trunks was looking for the or going to get the Dragon Radar, it was so cool. Like the whole planet was shaking. People were like watching the buildings, crack and crumble. And Goku was like shouting for what seemed like probably 30, 40 minutes, maybe 2 episodes. Who knows? Time was a construct at that point, I feel. That didn't really make any sense. But then, like, the form, the whole transformation ended. There's a big flash, and you see Goku with, like, hair down his back. And it was like, what is this? completely different from the first two forms in appearance. The guy's eyebrows are gone. He just looks completely different. But I thought this form was so cool. You know, immediately top tier for me. I think it stands without saying. This needs to go in S. Hands down, very, very cool form. Now we're hopping over to Dragon Ball GT, and this is the Golden Ozaru form. So basically, Super Saiyan Great Ape, if that's what you want to call it in a different way. Yeah, I do like this form. I think it was pretty cool. I think that, it was kind of just a good way of tying in original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z with Super Saiyan and the Great Ape form, and I do like that it leaned a lot more into the Saiyan roots of things. So, for instance, you needed this form to move on to Super Saiyan 4, and I just thought this was a really cool way of tying those two things together. I do like the appearance that the fur turns golden to, to match basically being a Super Saiyan. And I do like the way that it was used as a plot device to get Goku to Super Saiyan 4. And to me, it was just a great way of meshing old Dragon Ball with new Dragon Ball Z and slash GT to make something cool that kind of had a mix of the two things. So I think I'm going to put it in B tier, maybe in front of regular Ozaru, just because it just looks cooler. And, Super Saiyan anything just looks cool. So I'll go with that. Perfectly segueing into Super Saiyan 4. For me, this is one of my favorite forms. I know a lot of GT gets a lot of hate just because of reverting Goku to a kid and a lot of the elements not really making a lot of sense. Me personally, I didn't have anything against GT. I just like more Dragon Ball Z content, and that was good enough for me. So maybe I'm very easy to please in that department. But I thought Super Saiyan 4 was so cool just because it looks completely different from all the other Super Saiyan transformations before it. You know, gone is the blonde hair, your dark hair color, the eyeliner, the fur. It looks very primal Saiyan. Like this is as ancient Saiyan as you can get. And honestly, I thought it was great, and that it leans so heavily into the Saiyan ancestry. You basically had to have a tail, had to turn into an ape, had to turn into a Super Saiyan, regain control of your mind, and then, become Super Saiyan 4. And I wish this form could be used more in today's media. Who knows if Super will ever incorporate it. And I know there's tons of debates on what's stronger, Super Saiyan Blue or Super Saiyan 4. Personally, I don't know, but I do like that. I think Super Saiyan 4 is such a unique design, and for me, that's definitely S tier. I think I'm going to place it between 1 and 3, just because I think it's cooler than 3, but also 1 is such a classic that I don't know if anything will really go in front of that one just because of the impact it has had, but I think S tier is definitely where that form belongs. So now we have Super Full Power Saiyan 4, which I'm assuming is Full Power Super Saiyan 4 if you switch those words around a little bit. And I think that's when all the Z fighters like Gohan and Trunks and Goten and Vegeta all gave their power to Goku. Maybe not Vegeta, I don't really remember this correctly, but yeah, it's basically just Super Saiyan 4 with, everybody give me your energy kind of whatever. So, I mean, it really just is Super Saiyan 4, so I guess it goes in S tier just by default. It really is just the same thing. So I'll just put it behind regular Super Saiyan 4, but in front of Super Saiyan 3, so S tier. Pretty simple there. Okay, now we got Potential Unleashed. So this is pretty much a Gohan exclusive form that Elder Kai unlocked for him during the Buu arc, which is basically he just released all of Gohan's latent power, which is, something they talked about and built up throughout the whole Dragon Ball Z series, as Gohan was somebody with, all this latent power and potential that no one knew about, and this is basically the culmination of all of that. And I thought it was pretty cool. It's unique in that only Gohan is the only one who uses it, and he basically just has a more upright hairdo. his hair stays black when he transforms, or I guess uses the power. He becomes a lot more confident and cocky, similar to how he is in Super Saiyan 2. But yeah, it's cool. Not really anything, crazy for me. But, I'm sure this is someone's favorite. But for me, I think it's just very, middle ground. So I'm going to put that in B tier right behind Ozaru. Uh, or maybe in front of Ozaru. Yeah, let's go in front of Ozaru behind Golden Ozaru. That makes sense. Next is one of the more newer forms, which is Gohan Beast. This form is in the Dragon Ball Z superhero movie, and it's basically like Gohan tapping into a new form that is like completely unique to him, similar to Potential Unleashed, but it's more of his human half, I think is the logic behind it. Not really sure, could be wrong on that. Um, I kind of like the design. I think it's similar to like Ultra Instinct Complete Goku, and that it's like a silver gray hair, and the red eyes are a cool touch. I do think his hair is like really long, almost like comically long. Um, doesn't really make a lot of sense to me why they did that. I feel like they could have maybe kept it at like Super Saiyan 2 length. It almost kind of takes away like the seriousness from the form, but I mean, other than that, like I do like how it's designed, and I like that he's wearing like his Cell Saga Piccolo uniform when he's transformed like this. But for me, I think this is a C tier. I don't know. It just kind of seems like I don't know. The hair length just doesn't do it for me. So I'm gonna put it in C, but I'm gonna put it at the top of C because I think it's better than all of those forms, but not better than anything above it. So the next one is the Ikari form, which is exclusive to Broly. It's basically like his Wrath form, where he just kind of channels the power of the Ozaru and just kind of loses himself. We saw that in the new Broly movie that came out. Personally, I think the form looks really cool. I like the touch with the eyes. I think they get yellow, and his hair kind of raises a little bit, but he's not transformed in a Super Saiyan state. But it's very unique, and I do like the thought that went behind this form and showing that like Broly is basically using that Ozaru power similar to Super Saiyan 4, but in a different transform state than we've seen before. I think it's really cool, and I do like Broly as a character, even though I know for a lot of people he's just kind of rage machine who Goku and Vegeta and the rest of the Z fighters usually get beaten by and then have to like pull all their power together to beat. But I do like the form. I think it is going to go into A tier for me behind Super Saiyan 2. It is a pretty cool form. It's original, and I do like that it's kind of just a Broly exclusive. Broly exclusives, we have come up on Legendary Super Saiyan, and that is basically another exclusive form of Broly's where it's a unique transformation that only he can access, and his power just keeps rising and rising and rising without any limit. Very cool, very iconic. You know, in the original Broly movie, he had access to this form as well. He just gets, super muscular more than he already was, even bigger, and he just kind of flies into a rage, beating everyone senseless. And it's a cool form. I like it. Nothing wrong with it. I think it's going to go A again for me. Probably maybe in front of Ikari, yeah. But behind Super Saiyan 2. That makes most sense. One is Legendary Super Saiyan 2. I didn't know that was a form. I don't think that's I don't think that is Legendary Super Saiyan 2. As far as I know, I don't think there is a Legendary Super Saiyan 2. I think that's Kefla using like Kale's Legendary Super Saiyan form, it looks like, or just regular Super Saiyan in the fused state. I don't think that's actually a Legendary Super Saiyan 2 form, so that might just be a typo there. So I'm gonna put this form just because I do like the design, and the green hair is obviously cool and unique. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I think it's gonna be behind Potential Unleashed Gohan, but in front of regular Ozaru. Yeah, that makes the most sense. Next is God Broly. I don't think I've ever seen this form. This looks like a game form or something fan made. Um, Kind of looks kind of boring. I think I'm just gonna put this in D tier behind Super Saiyan Power, just because it looks kind of silly and I don't think it really makes any sense. Let's see. The next one is Tuffle Super Saiyan 1. Okay, so this is in Dragon Ball GT when Baby basically takes over Vegeta's body, and basically his Super Saiyan transformations are a little bit corrupted, and that's why he looks different. He has the white hair and the lines running across his face. I do like that they made this a more unique look for Vegeta when he was taken over, so he's not just like, you know, regular Super Saiyan, you can't tell the difference. It's a distinct design. Um, I guess Tuffle Super Saiyan 1 for me would probably go in C tier, maybe in front of Pseudo Super Saiyan, but behind Super Saiyan Grade 3. The Tuffle Super Saiyan 2 is when he gets like those shoulder pads and he becomes more Tuffle looking. Um, Still, I think this would be a C tier for me as well. I don't think it's anything bad. I just don't think it's anything great. Um, yeah, I think this would even go behind Pseudo Super Saiyan for me. Tuffle Super Saiyan 3. I think this is like basically if Vegeta could have went to Super Saiyan 3 with Baby taking over his body, it kind of corrupts the transformation so he doesn't look like a normal Super Saiyan 3 with the long hair. Um, this form is a lot more iconic because I feel like in a lot of the video games and media, he's in this form the longest, especially fighting Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So I definitely think it's above C. I don't think it's an A or S for sure. I think this could be in B. I think I'd put this one behind Ozaru. It's cool. I like the design. I like that he somehow has a whole new Tuffle fit to go with the transformation. But I mean that's a lot of Dragon Ball Z. They just get clothes when they transform. I don't know how that works, but I do think it. I like it in B. Yeah, it's a middle tier transformation. B is where it should belong. So the next form we have is Super Saiyan Rage. This form is the one Trunks obtains during the Goku Black Zamasu fight. It's basically just him with the Super Saiyan Blue aura that somehow allows him to basically fight enemies that were beating him not less than like a couple minutes ago. For me, the form is pretty boring and uninspired looking. Personally, I just don't like the. It's just basically him with a Super Saiyan Blue aura and legendary Super Saiyan white irises. I don't really like it. I think they could have given him something more unique or cooler, or something more his own. And I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. I personally think it's a D tier form. I think it's in front of all of these, but I don't think I like it any higher than that. So D tier for that form. The next one is Super Saiyan God. So yeah, this was introduced in the Battle of Gods movie, I believe, and this is when all the other Saiyans came together, gave one pure-hearted Saiyan their energy, and you basically allowed Goku to tap into God Ki for the first time. I do like the look of it. I like the red aura. I do like that he keeps like his original untransformed hairstyle. I think it's distinct looking. I do like that the aura is like very flame-like and it's cool in that way. The only thing is I guess I don't really like how it makes him a lot more skinnier, but that could be due to him or some kind of reasoning that God Ki makes you need less muscle mass and or however Dragon Ball Z rationalizes it. I think I would put this actually in A tier. It might be below all of these, but I think it's an A tier form. It looks cool. It's very unique. I'll give it that. We have Super Saiyan Rose. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. For me, this form is goaded right up to S tier. No questions asked. I'll put it. You know what? I'm going to put it in front of original Super Saiyan. You know what? I like it that much. I think it's just cool. You know, I just like an evil, character swap of our main character. I like Goku being evil. I just like the form. I like that it's just like a mix of like Zamasu's God Ki with Goku's Super Saiyan body. So instead of the original Super Saiyan blue color, it comes out in that pink color, hence the name Rose. And it just looks very cool to me. I remember when I first saw this, I was like, there is going to be so much fan art of this form. People are going to love this. And it just looks very cool. That actually might be my favorite form, hands down. I just love how that looks, actually. So we have Super Saiyan Blue, and this is the mastered God Key form, basically. Um, this form is cool. I like it. I know a lot of people think it's just basically a color swap of regular Super Saiyan 1, which is not incorrect. It is just basically Super Saiyan 1 with blue hair, but I mean, most of these forms you could probably say something of that nature, honestly, anyway. I do think it's cool. Um, I feel like it's gotten pretty iconic. This is kind of like Goku's like go-to form, I feel like at this point, other than like regular Super Saiyan. And for me, I think this is A tier. I like it. I think I'd put it, yeah, I'd put it in front of Legendary Super Saiyan Ikari and Super Saiyan God, but behind Super Saiyan 2. I think it's a pretty solid form. I like how it looks, but I do think there are forms I like better. So let's go with A tier. I think that's respectable. Let's see. So now we have Super Saiyan Blue Evolved. I think this is a Vegeta exclusive form that he gets in the anime during the Tournament of Power arc. So this is basically like the form they give for him to compete with Goku's Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken form, which I don't think is on here actually. Huh, strange. I guess it's not really, maybe it is form, but I do like the form. It's distinct. It has like these sparkles to show you that it's not regular Super Saiyan Blue, and that his hair color is a darker shade of blue also to kind of give you the subtle visual hints that this is a more elevated form, hence the evolved name. Um, I think it's pretty cool. Um, it is anime only, I think, so I don't think it's ever been in the manga. For me, I think I'd put this in B tier, yeah. B tier, maybe behind Potential Unleashed. Yeah, yeah, this is good for me. I think that goes there. So let's see what we have left. We have the three Ultra forms: Ultra Instinct Sign, regular completed Ultra Instinct, and Ultra Ego. For me, Ultra Instinct Sign is definitely an A tier form. I think it's just very cool. I do like that it's kind of like Goku's progression on the angel path, quote unquote, in that he's, basically just tapping into the ability to kind of minimize his thoughts and just react naturally to, you know, punches and kicks and everything. And it's just very cool. And the original transformation in the Tournament of Power arc, when he like basically absorbs the spirit bomb, and it was pretty cool. I thought it was very epic. The orchestral music really invoked the emotion and the weight of the scene. So for me, I think this would go in. Let's go A, and I think it could go here for me, between Legendary Super Saiyan and Ikari. Next is the completed Mastered Ultra Instinct form, which is basically Ultra Instinct Sign, but with like pure white hair, akin to what the angels have. Um, Basically, same thing, really cool. I do like the appearance of the form. I like that it's, as of right now, it's like Goku's pinnacle. So, very cool. I do like the white hair giving him a more angelic look. I think for me, this would go probably in front of Sign on A tier. I don't think it's. Yeah, I think this is about right. I think it's not any higher than this, but also it's definitely not lower than A. And Ultra Ego. So Ultra Ego is cool. It's similar to Super Saiyan 3 in that Vegeta doesn't have eyebrows anymore. He has like dark purple hair, and it's like basically the antithesis, sorry about that, to Goku's Ultra Instinct, in that like his mind is full of like rage and anger and destruction, and He uses a lot more Hawkeye powers compared to Goku, who's a lot more subtle and tranquil. And I do like the form. I think it's nice they gave Vegeta a distinctive form all his own, and that he's on a different path than what Goku is doing, so it's not like he went to Ultra Instinct to match Goku. I like that they understood that Vegeta's character is a lot different, and that he wouldn't necessarily be doing everything that Goku does. He would go his own path that's more akin to how he likes to fight and how he is as a person and character. So for me, I'd say this is also an A tier form. I like it more than. Actually, you know what? This might ruffle some feathers, but I think I like it. I like it more than Super Saiyan Blue, Legendary Super Saiyan, all the Ultra Instincts, the Ikari, and Super Saiyan God, but not more than Super Saiyan 2. So yeah, I think that's it. That might be the definitive list right there, for me at least. You might have a different opinion or disagree, and that's great. Let me know in the comments what you think or how you think the list should have went. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. And feel free to comment any other tier lists you might want me to make or anything you might want me to look into. And I'm more than happy to consider it and take some time. And maybe your comment will be the next video. Other than that, thank you so much for watching the video. Have a great day. Thank you.